स्वाध्याय टीवी डॉक्टर बाबा साहेब आंबेडकर ओपन यूनिवर्सिटी।
Namaskar dear students, I Dr. Himanshu Patel welcome you from the Chaitanya studio of Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar Open University. We are in lecture series on Java programming. So, today we starts with history of Java. Foundation of Java was laid down by James Gosling, Patrick Norton, Chris Worth, Ed Frank and Mike Sheridan at Sun Microsystem Incorporation in 1991. It took 18 months to develop the first working version of Java. This language was initially called Awk, but was renamed Java in 1995. Sun Microsystem released the first version of Java in early 1996 and it was followed by version 1.02 a couple of months later. In 1998, Java 1.2 was released, which was renamed to Java 2 just after 3 days of its release. We know that Java is a programming language for internet, but somewhat surprisingly, the original motivation for Java was not the internet. Instead, the primary motivation was the need for a platform independent, that is architecture neutral language that could be used to create software to be embedded in various consumer electronic devices such as microwave oven and remote controls. As you can probably guess, many different types of CPUs are used as a controllers. The trouble with C and C++ and other languages is that they are designed to be compiled for a specific target. It means your program is runs on a particular CPU for which you write down your code. So, this was the problem with earlier programming language. Although it is possible to compile a C++ program for just about any type of CPU, to do so it requires full C++ compiler targeted for that CPU. It means we can have individual compilers for individual CPU. The problem is that compilers are expensive and time consuming to create, and it requires easier and more efficient cost effective solution. So, for that Java developer team began to work on a portable platform independent language that could be used to produce code that would run on variety of CPUs under differing environments. The problem can be only solved if we have one mechanism that can be run on any device. Now, these efforts ultimately leads to the creation of Java. So, this is the motivation for development of Java. Now, Java might have remained a useful but obscure language for programming consumer electronics. However, with the emergence of the World Wide Web, Java was boosted to the forefront of computer language design, because the web is also demanded portable programs. Now, internet consists of diverse distributed universe populated with many types of computers, operating system and CPUs. Even though many types of platforms are attached to internet, user would like them all to be able to run the same program. It means in internet we have multiple types of computers attached and they run on different operating system. So, user required to run all these program on different platform. You might think why Java is so successful and popular. So, we discuss why Java is so popular and successful. Now, you might aware that Java derives much of its character from C and C++. The Java designer knew that using the familiar syntax of C and the object oriented features of C++ would make their language appealing to the crowds of experienced C++ programmers. In addition to the surface similarity, Java also shares some of the other attributes that help make C and C++ successful. Now, what are those attributes? First, Java was designed, tested and refined by real working programmers. That means, Java itself is created by working programmers. Second attribute is that Java is cohesive and logically consistent, which also helps make it popular among Java programmers. And third reason is, except for those constraints imposed by internet environment, Java gives you full control. In other words, we can say Java is not a language with training wheels, it is a language for professional programmers. So, these are the reason why Java is so popular among community. Now, we might think that since Java is similar to C and C++, it may be upgraded version of C or C++. So, we try to understand how Java is differ from C and C++. Because of the similarity between Java and C++, one might think of Java as simply the internet version of C++. However, as I mentioned earlier, to do so would be a large mistake. There are significant difference which is practical and philosophical with C++. While it is true that Java was influenced by C++, it is not an enhanced version of C++. For example, Java is neither upwardly nor downwardly compatible with C++. It means you cannot run Java code directly into C++ or C++ code directly into Java. Of course, the similarity with C++ are significant, and if you are a C++ programmer, then you will feel right at home with Java. Another difference is Java was not designed to replace C++. Java was designed to solve a certain set of problems with C++. C++ was designed to solve a different set of problems. Specifically said, Java enhances and refines the object oriented paradigm used by C++. Thus, Java is not a language that exists in isolation, rather it is a part of an ongoing process begun by many years ago. These fact alone is enough to ensure Java a place in computer language history. Java is to internet programming what C was to system programming, a revolutionary force that changed the world. Now, you might think that how Java programs is portable and runs on multiple operating system and different CPUs. So, next we try to understand how Java provides platform independence. The key that allows Java to solve both the security and the portability problem is that the output of a Java compiler is not executable code, rather it is a bytecode. Now, you think what is bytecode? A bytecode is a highly optimized set of instruction designed to be executed by the Java runtime system, which is called the Java virtual machine. So, we have two keywords, one is bytecode and another is JVM. As I mentioned earlier, when you compile your Java program, it does not generate executable code as with the case with C or C++, rather it generates bytecode, and these bytecode is executed by Java virtual machine, which is a interpreter for Java. So, the JVM is an interpreter for bytecode. These may come as a bit of surprise, because as you know C++ is compiled to executable code, while Java is compiled to bytecode. In fact, most modern programming languages are designed to be compiled, not interpreted, mostly because of performance concerns, because Generally, interpreter are slow for execution, while compiler once generate executable code, it can be executed faster. However, the fact that a Java program is executed by the JVM helps resolve the major problems associated with downloading program over the internet. Now, why it is a secure? Because translating a Java program into bytecode helps make it much easier to run program in wide variety of environments. The reason is straightforward. Only the JVM needs to be implemented for each platform. Once the runtime package exists for a given system, any Java program can run on it. That means JVM is different for different operating system, while bytecode remains same for all the platform. But when this bytecode is run by interpreter, it generates it executed on different platform, because there is a separate JVM is available for different operating system. Although the details of the JVM will differ from platform to platform, all interpret the same Java bytecode. Thus, the interpretation of bytecode is the easiest way to create truly portable programs. The fact that a Java program is interpreted also helps to make it secure, because the execution of every Java program is under the control of the JVM. The JVM can contain the program and prevent it from generating side effects outside of the system. So, JVM is not only execute Java code, but Java bytecode, but it also control these bytecode so that it cannot perform any side effect or activity which is outside of the system. When a program is interpreted, it generally runs substantially slower than it would run if compiled to executable code. That means interpreter are generally slow than compiler. However, with Java, the differential between the two is not so great. That means the Java program is executed little bit slow, but that difference can be ignored. The use of bytecode enables the Java runtime system to execute programs much faster than you might expect. Now, let us understand this platform independence with the help of figure. So, on screen you can see how C and C++ program is executed and how Java program is executed. If we look at the first figure, suppose my file is a.cpp, which is a C or C++ source code, then I compile that file which generates object code. Now, remember, these object code is a for specific target, that means on machine on which it runs, for that these object code is generated, and when you run this objected code, it will generates executable code or exe file which is a.exe. Now, suppose once this exe file is generated or executable code is generated, I need not to recompile this program. I can straight away take this exe file to some other platform and run on that. But remember that object code or from which this executable code is generated might not work well on different computer or different operating system. Now, let us take example of Java. Our file is a.java, which is a Java source code or your program, and when you compile this program, it generates a class file which is nothing but Java bytecode. Now, suppose you are compiling your program on Linux, Macintosh, Solaris, Windows. For every platform, this bytecode remains same, but the implementation of Java virtual machine is different from platform to platform. That means, Windows Java virtual machine is different, Solaris virtual machine is different, Linux Java virtual machine is different, and Macintosh Java virtual machine is different. The only requirement is that JVM should be available for that platform or must be installed on that platform where I want to run this Java bytecode. The Sun Microsystem created Java virtual machine for different platform and distributed it free of cost. So, we can have Java virtual machine for different platform and I can compile my code on Windows and run easily it on Linux if Java virtual machine is there. So, when I run my bytecode, the Java virtual machine interpret that bytecode and depending on platform it execute our program. So, this is how Java provides platform independence. Now, there are certain buzzword associated with Java that we need to understand. The first buzzword is simple. So, why Java is simple? Java was designed to be easy for the professional programmer to learn and use effectively. If you have some programming experience, you will not find Java hard to master. If you already understand the basic concept of object oriented programming, the learning of Java will be even much easier. If you are an experienced C++ programmer, moving to Java will require very little efforts because Java inherits the C++ syntax and many of the object oriented features of C++. Most programmers have little trouble learning Java. Also, some of the more confusing concepts from C++ are either left out or removed because to make Java more simple. Now, what are the features of C++ are removed? If I name some one or two, then pointers are eliminated and operator overloading removed, direct multiple inheritance is removed. So, these some of the confusing concepts are removed from Java to make it simple or they are already implemented in Java. So, Java implemented in cleaner, more approachable manner. In Java, there are a small number of clearly defined ways to accomplish a given task. So, we can say Java is easy to learn if you have little of programming experience, and if you know C or C++, it would be more better. Next, Java is secure and portable, that we have already discussed how it is secure and how it is portable, that is platform independence. The next is a Java is object oriented. Java is a pure object oriented programming language and the object model in Java is simple and easy to extend. Now, we learn more about object oriented programming in next lecture, but right now you have to remember that Java is a pure object oriented programming language and it simple and easy to extend. Now, what do you mean by pure object oriented programming? Pure object oriented programming means we can have at least one class to run our program. In C++, if we have main function, we can run our program without requiring any class, but in Java it is compulsory to have at least one class inside which we write down our main method and that class is known as a main class. We elaborate these features in next session, but right now we can say Java is a object oriented programming language. The next features is Java is robust. Now, how it provides robustness? The multi-platform environment of the web places extraordinary demand on program because the program must execute reliably in a variety of systems. Thus, the ability to create robust program was given a high priority in the design of Java. The Java is itself designed in such a manner that the program written in Java must be reliable on different environment. To gain reliability, Java restricts you in a few key areas. to force you to find your mistakes early in program development. At the same time, Java frees you from having to worry about many of the most common causes of programming errors. Because Java is a strictly typed language, it checks your code at compile time. However, it also checks your code at runtime. So, in fact, many hard to track down bugs are simply impossible to create in Java. So, these common errors are automatically removed because of Java is a strictly typed language. Normally, due to type conversion, we can have logical errors, that is only happens at runtime, but this is impossible to create in Java. Now, to better understand how Java is robust, we consider two of the main reasons for program failure. First is a memory management mistakes and another is mishandled exceptional conditions or runtime errors. So, how Java helps improve these? First, memory management is a difficult, tedious task in traditional programming environment. For example, in C++, the programmer must manually allocate and free all dynamic memory. Now, these sometimes leads to problems because programmer will either forget to free memory that has been previously allocated or worse, try to free some memory that another part of their code is still using. So, these will leads to memory management errors. Now, how Java eliminates this? Java eliminates this problem by managing memory allocation and deallocation for you. That means, deallocation is completely automatic, means you need not to free memory which is allocated by Java for you. And these features in Java is known as a garbage collection, which means it automatically frees memory for unused object. Another area where Java improves is exception handling. Now, exceptional condition in traditional environment often arise in situation such as division by 0 or file not found, and they must be managed with clumsy and hard to read construct. Now, Java helps in these area by providing object oriented exceptional handling. In a well written Java program, all runtime errors can and should be managed by your program. So, Java provides structured exception handling and object oriented exceptional handling. There are only 5 keywords you have to use and remember for exception handling. So, Java provides exceptional handling and memory management features to make your program more reliable. The next point is that Java programs are multi-threaded or Java supports multi-threading. Java was designed to meet the real world requirement of creating interactive network program. Now, to accomplish this, Java supports multi-threaded programming, which allows you to write program that do many things simultaneously. Now, let us take one example of our browser. In browser, we are surfing the net, we can download the music, we can watch the video, and we can have multiple tabs open. So, browser is a program which requires multiple windows to be run simultaneously and multiple process run simultaneously. So, Java supports these kind of programs. The Java runtime system comes with an elegant yet sophisticated solution for multi-process synchronization that enables you to construct smoothly running interactive system, so that your program does not suffer even if running or handling multiple activities. Java provides easy to use approach to multi-threading and allows you to think about the specific behavior of your program and not the multitasking subsystem. So, Java helps writing multi-threaded program where user can run multiple programs simultaneously. Next, Java is a architecture neutral. So we discuss how it is a architecture neutral in platform independence. A central issue for the Java designer was that of code longevity and portability, and we discuss how it solves these kind of problem. So we know that Java virtual machine make Java architecture neutral, and Java virtual machine is an attempt to provide goal write once and run anywhere, anytime, forever. To a great extent, this goal was accomplished by Java. The next is a Java is interpreted and high performance. We discussed that Java program is interpreted by Java virtual machine. So it is interpreted. Now Java enables the creation of cross-platform programs by compiling into an intermediate representation called Java bytecode, and these code can be interpreted on any system that provides a Java virtual machine. Now Java provides a high performance by using a just-in-time compiler which is optimized to run bytecode. So Java runtime system that provides these features lost none of the benefits of the platform independent code. Java is also called distributed because Java is designed for the distributed environment of the internet because it handles TCP/IP protocol. In fact, accessing a resource using URL is not much different from accessing a file. That means you can access remote file in same manner as if you are opening file from local machine. Now these allowed objects on two different computers to execute procedure remotely. Java revived these interface in a package called remote method invocation, in short RMI. This feature brings the high level of abstraction to client server programming. Java is also considered dynamic. Now Java program carry with them substantial amount of runtime type information that is used to verify and resolve access to object at runtime. Now these make it possible to dynamically link code in a safe and expedient manner. This is a crucial to the robustness of the applet environment, in which small fragment of bytecode may be dynamically updated on a running system. So these are the buzzwords associated with Java. Now let us summarize what we have learned today in this session. Today's session we have learned how and why Java came about and what make it so important. Although Java has become inseparably linked with the online environment of the internet, it is important to remember that Java is first and foremost a programming language. I hope you enjoyed this session. Thank you and happy learning.
स्वाध्याय टीवी